Have you ever read a book that you absolutely could not put down? A book that was so fascinating that you had to read it from start to finish. Whenever I read a book like that, I have to finish it. I get wrapped up in the content, the characters, and the setting. I will do anything in the world, or I will put off anything in the world in order to finish the book. According to the Stephenie Meyer biography written by Aaron Colazzo Miller, Stephenie Meyer has received the following plus many more awards: a New York Times Editor's Choice, a Publisher's Weekly Best Book of the Year, and an American Library Association Top 10 Books for Young Adults. Therefore, I want to convince you all to read The Twilight Saga. Written by Stephenie Meyer and first published on October 5th of 2005. First, I am going to provide you with a few details about the books. Then I'm going to talk about my personal experience with reading the books. And last, I want to ask for your opinions on this topic. There are 4 books in the Twilight Saga. In order, they are Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. The main characters are Bella and Edward. Basically, Bella moves from a big city, Phoenix, Arizona, to small town Forks, Washington, where she meets Edward Cullen. Edward happens to be a vampire and a little over 100 years old. Oh, and the main thing the vampires feed on is human blood. Lucky for Bella, though, Edward's family considers themselves to be vegetarians, meaning they only feed on the blood of animals. Despite their obvious differences, Bella falls in love with Edward, and Edward falls in love with Bella. Unfortunately, love between a vampire and a human is not allowed. Bella would love to be turned into a vampire, but the Cullens would be in so much trouble if they turned her into a vampire just so she could be with Edward. They have to have probable cause to turn her into a vampire. So, Bella has a choice to make. A character introduced as Jacob Black, a wolf, loves Bella as well. The tribe happens to be huge rivals with the vampires. The vampires are not allowed to cross over into the tribe's land. Jacob's love for Bella is not forbidden, nor is it dangerous. Now, at this point in summarizing the books, most guys lose all interest in ever reading them. Many people think that the Twilight Saga is for crazy teenage girls who want to get lost in a fantasy world. I think those that have seen the movies but have never read the books really fit this description. Those who have read the books know how the story ends. Those who only watch the movies get to choose between Team Edward and Team Jacob. There are a lot of people who are missing out on the exciting world within these books because they are too embarrassed to be seen reading them. If you have seen the movies that coincide with the books, I understand why you may hesitate to read them. You should know that the movies are nowhere near as detailed and entertaining as the books. In fact, while reading these books, I felt like I was actually following the lives of 2 real people. The movies show a very tiny portion of what the books actually share. Stephenie Meyer created an entire world with realistic characters living a fantasy life. These are stories of excitement, danger, true love, and revenge. I am so glad that my friends introduced me to these stories before the movies came out. Because honestly, if the movie had come out first and I had watched that before I read the book, I never would have picked up the books in the first place. Now that you have a little bit of background information about these books, I would like to ask your opinions on what you thought of the Twilight Saga. Cassidy, I'd like to start with you. Have you read the books or seen any of the movies before?
One movie.
Just one movie? What did you think of it?
It was boring.
It was boring? Prior to this, you had heard of the Twilight Saga.
Yes.
What was your initial impression of the Twilight Saga?
It seemed kind of boring.
Seemed boring? Okay. Would you ever consider reading the entire saga?
No.
No, why not?
Too long.
Too long? When you watched that movie, did you choose Team Edward or Team Jacob? Team Jacob? Okay. Mom, have you read the books or seen any of the movies?
No.
No? Prior to this speech, had you heard of the Twilight Saga?
Yes.
What was your initial impression of it?
I just thought, you mean before the speech or when
Yeah,
I first heard about it?
before the speech.
I thought it was probably just dumb and teenager.
Would you ever consider reading the entire saga?
No,
Why not?
doesn't interest me.
Doesn't interest you? Since you have not seen the movies or read the book, would you choose Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Probably Team Jacob.
Okay. Thank you. So in conclusion, the Twilight Saga is definitely a series of works that everybody should read. These books will teach you more about love and sacrifice than you can imagine. I strongly recommend that you read the books first, and then if you truly wish to, you can watch the movies. Just open the books and fall into the lives of Edward and Bella as they fall in love, even though they know it is forbidden. Be informed that if you start this saga, chances are you will not be able to put the books down until you are done. Remember when I described reading a fascinating book at the beginning of this speech? Well, this is one of those books that once you start, you have to finish. I read each book in a matter of days. I hope that you all decide to read this saga and have fun choosing between Team Edward and Team Jacob. Thank you.